All right, the very first thing is to load Jupyter. You already saw one method to load Jupyter in the previous videos. Another easier way to do it is to load it directly through Anaconda Navigator. So you click on Anaconda Navigator, which is going to be available on your machine because you've already installed it, and wait a second for it to load. And this is what you're going to see. And once you have it, you can just see the Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is what you want, so you just click on Launch. And this is the Jupyter that is going to be loaded for you. And what you want to do is to go and create a new file where you are going to be, putting all of your Python files. And for me, it's going to be here. So Google Drive. It's right here. So then I'm going to, when I'm in the folder that I want to be, then I click on New, Python, and then I will have my Jupyter Notebook created. I'm going to rename it to iris classification using KNN, and then just rename it so that I'm ready to start my coding here. So the very first step is to import a bunch of machine learning packages that we're going to need for pretty much every machine learning practice that we're going to do, and those are NumPy and Pandas. So let's just import those two. And the way that you do it is to say import NumPy as NP. And what I'm doing here is that basically, sorry, this is NumPy. What happened here? What I'm doing here is that I'm telling Python to go and basically load the NumPy package, and from now on, I'm going to call it NP, right? So rather than just typing the full name of NumPy, I'm just going to type NP, and then Python would recognize that whenever I'm typing NP, I'm referring to NumPy package, right? And then the other one that I'm going to import is Pandas. So I'm going to say import Pandas, and because it's a long name, I'm going to call it PD, right? So from now on, whenever I just type in PD, Python would know that I am referring to Pandas. And these are the two packages that in the previous videos we learned how to download and install. The first one, the NumPy, is for dealing with arrays, right? These are one dimensions of numbers that we are going to be dealing with. Pandas is something that sits on top of NumPy, and it is for dealing with data frames, such as spreadsheets, basically matrices. Here we are going to have rows and columns, right? And these are multi-dimensional arrays, basically. And Pandas sits on top of NumPy, so that's what we're going to be working a lot with. Therefore, we have to import it here. And just for us to remember what we're doing, we're going to basically comment our code. So whenever you put the this sign here, the number sign, it means that it's just a comment, so it's not going to be implemented, right? So I'm going to say that loading the machine learning packages, right? So these two are for my purposes of machine learning. Now, the other thing that we have to import here is going to be the KNN classifier algorithm. So what we have to do here is to type in from sklearn dot neighbors import k neighbor classifier. And because this name is too long and whenever we want to refer to it, it's going to be a hassle, we're going to just say KNN is going to be K neighbor classifier with n neighbors equals to 1, right? So here basically we are going to implement the KNN methodology in which k is equal to 1. It is the number of neighbors. Just let's run this. Okay, we have an error here. Let me see what the error is. Okay, I am missing an S here, K neighbors classifier. And here it also K neighbors. And there I will have no errors anymore. All right, now what I'm going to do is to basically read my dataset, and the way that I can read my dataset into Python is by using pandas. And basically, there is a function for that within the pandas, and in order to call it, we type in pd dot read underscore CSV. Why? Because we want to read a CSV file, right? So read.csv is an object within the pandas. So we just type in pd.read.csv and then type in the name of the dataset that we have, which in this case is called iris.csv. And remember, I have saved the iris.csv dataset in the same folder that I already have my Python code. That is why I do not need to type in the full address of the file. If this file was saved anywhere else on my computer, then I have to give a full address of that file wherever it's saved on my machine, right? So this line of code is basically going to read that data set, and we have to now give it a name and basically store it as something in our code. So I'm going to call it iris dataset, right? Or iris data, right? So basically, what is going to happen here is that there is going to be a data set created for me, which in Python I'm going to call it iris underscore data, and that data set is going to be loaded by pandas and will be what is already downloaded on my computer. All right, and this code runs without any errors. So let me just also comment this, and I just say this is import iris data into Python. And now if I just type in print, iris underscore data, Python is going to print the data set for me, but not all of it because it's too much. So it's going to basically print the first 5 rows and the last 5 rows, and you can see you have the ID, which is the observation number, then sepal length in centimeters, sepal width in centimeters, petal width in length in centimeters, and petal width in centimeters, and of course the type of the species, right? So the first 5 are all Setosa species, and the last 5 are all Virginica species.